Hi, everyone. Welcome to TezTalks Radio's final episode of 2023. I am your host, Marissa True. And today we have two guests joining us to talk about the Tezos Foundation partnership with Musée d'Orsay. So today we have Hélène Quintin, who is the CEO and co-founder of the Keru project, which aims to use blockchain technology to produce digital souvenirs for museums and galleries. And we also have Constance de Marliave, the International Developments and Projects Manager at Musée d'Orsay, one of Paris's most well-known museums of fine art. So firstly, welcome both of you to the show. How are you guys today?
Thank you, Marissa.
Thank
Very
you.
well.
Very well. Thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure. So, as is tradition on this show, I would like to start by learning a bit more about each of your backgrounds. So, the series of events that really led to where you are today. So, Constance, we'll start with you. Can you share your path in the art world and what initially piqued your interest about the Web3 art space?
Thank you, Marissa. So before getting to the Musée d'Orsay and the Musée de l'Orangerie, I was working for brand agencies. So the idea for multiple brands. So I think that was the question of curiosity and being able to embrace new world, new ideas. And I wanted to try to work for culture, for the culture world, for the arts, because it was meaningful for me. And this is why when I got 4 years ago into Musée d'Orsay and Musée de l'Orangerie, working mainly in the first place for brand strategy for the museum, and then searching for new ways to expand the museum beyond the museum walls. It comes with economic development, brand licensing, but it also comes with other projects like digital exhibitions, a new way to make our collection travels, and Web3 came in. 2 years ago, I must say, a lot of companies came to us saying Web3 is at the top at the time. There are a lot of cultural institutions going there. So everyone is coming to us saying, you should do something and I have the best solution for you. And at this point we say, okay, we need to do our own research first. So we launched into this research for a year, meeting with companies, trying to train ourselves. And this is when we crossed the WAP Fellowship, which is orchestrated by Tezos and also by the We Are Museum community. And it was a 12-week training, very intensive, about Web3, meeting with companies that had ideas for us, and Keru was involved. So this is, I think, the first time we started discussing. At the end of this training, there were 4 weeks dedicated to prototyping. And this was great for us because I think we spent, a year and a half really thinking about what we should do about Web3, knowing it could be relevant for the Musée d'Orsay, even though it's a 19th century museum, to embrace also this new technology, to be a museum aligned with its time, but also looking towards the future. And that was quite important for us. So we wanted to try and to test and to experiment. I think that was the most difficult part at the beginning because we were so into making sure we will have the best project ever. So it took us 1 year and a half, and hopefully we had the WAC Fellowship and Keru to push us to do this first digital souvenir and have other ideas for the months to come.
Amazing. So it sounds like your background in agency sort of instilled this mental attitude or enthusiasm for technological innovation, and then basically joining Musée d'Orsay was this opportunity to see how you could apply those learnings into a very traditional space. As you said, it was a 19th century art museum. And so knowing that there was this uphill road and knowing that there was this whole hype cycle, I think it was very impressive that you guys managed to be patient and deliberate about your research ahead of actually jumping into the pool along with everyone else who was experimenting with the technology at the time. And then Helen, when you started with the Keru project, obviously this is way back in the day when you crossed paths with Musée d'Orsay. Can you tell me how that project actually started and how you ended up sort of in the same sphere as Musée d'Orsay and these other art institutions and galleries?
About my background, I've business law background. I have a really special background, but I grew up in comedy, and I really always have the idea to create something that can connect people around the world to culture. And the idea of Keru was born 2.5 or 3 years ago. I did a road trip in South America and Central America, and I visited Tikal in Guatemala, and only 8% of the sites in Tikal have been discovered because Guatemala is one of the poorest countries in the world. And at the end of my visit, I wanted to get a souvenir, like all tourists, but I only have access to mug, to magnets. And I would like, when I was there, I was looking a way to get something that can help the site, even if it's a small donation. So that's where the idea of Keru was born. During this road trip, and after I called with Sebastian, with this engineer, and after we talk about the idea of digital souvenir, and we see the concept like to be a way to connect also with audience, because we can get benefits to the digital souvenir. And with Keru, we are on Tezos since the beginning, because it's the reference, the blockchain reference. Because it's reference on art and culture. It's a reference. And I meet the Nomadic Labs teams in Paris, as they are very present in France. And after, we met Constance and Musée d'Orsay during the WAC fellowship. And after, we create 2 digital souvenirs for the museum.
So it was actually this trip to Guatemala, I guess, that opened your eyes more to the principles of financial inclusivity. And then that's where the blockchain kind of came into the fold, and how you connected all those dots and then applied it to your own experience in a really wonderful way. So then if we fast forward slightly and we are looking a bit more formatively at the partnership between Tezos Foundation and Musée d'Orsay, Constance, can you tell me a bit more about how that came to be as well?
How the partnership started. So we discussed during the WAC fellowship, and it was in spring, last spring. So we had this idea that in October, beginning of October 2023, there was this huge exhibition around the last month of Van Gogh in Auvers-sur-Oise, close to Paris. That was going to be, it's actually currently in our rooms, a big success. And Van Gogh is also an artist that I think brings great creativity, and it's very popular. So we're thinking that could be a great way and a great timing to launch our first project. And so it was a great opportunity, and it was from spring to autumn. So we had like less than 6 months to launch the project, but Keru was really on board to help us with that. And this is where we had to define what would be the souvenir. We wanted something that was quite accessible in terms of pricing also. So the first souvenir is 19 euros, and the second one is 20 euros. So the idea was really to have something accessible to anyone. And we also wanted to, as Hélène was saying, the idea was to have a digital souvenir, an augmented souvenir. What was pretty much the idea, bringing advantages, and that the visitors could also, with a small token, fund the museum's project, and also have, like, our sponsors, when they give a lot of money, they have advantages, privatizing some spaces in the museum, for instance, organizing events, and the idea that even though the prices were really small, you could get advantages, so promotions in the shops. There's also, we can discuss this further afterwards, but the principle of golden ticket, where some of the buyers of the second souvenir, 20 euro souvenir, gives you a lifetime access to the museum. So we really wanted to link also the digital experience to the physical experience.
Right. Okay. So there was a lot of incentivizing and almost generating a bit of a loyalty scheme or a loyalty structure, so that people would feel, I guess, a greater degree of connection to their visit from to Musée d'Orsay. But then what was it actually like in terms of conceptualizing what this was going to look like? Because on the one hand, we've got Keru project, which is, a blockchain built digital souvenirs business. And then we've got an age-old institution like Musée d'Orsay, two types of companies that I feel would naturally find some challenges in working together. So what was that process like? Did you find the flow quite straightforward, or what were some of the, the obstacles that potentially arose?
Maybe I can start, and then Hélène, I'm sure you can say anything you want about that. I think what was great with Keru is that it's a small structure, so they're very agile. We had Sébastien, was really a technical guy, who was really working on a very simple, accessible user flow. And Hélène was incredible, very reactive too, because it was really during the summer that most of the work was done. But on the other hand, and I let maybe Hélène jump in, we are public cultural institution with different services, separate the commercial spaces from the exhibition spaces. So for Keru, it was a lot to deal with, I guess. So I'll let Hélène jump in.
No, yeah, the thing is with Keru, we really wanted to hide all the technical aspects, to have a really simple solution for the visitors. But after about working together, we of course work hard, but at the end it's a success because there's no problem about the access to get digital souvenir. Anyone can have a digital souvenir in 20 seconds without any technical blockchain, without even a blockchain wallet. That's really nice, I think, for the visitors of the museum, because of course not all the visitors of the Musée d'Orsay have crypto, have wallets. So, but no, it was nice.
So despite all predictions, it worked out quite smoothly. It worked out quite well. And then, of course, you guys are building with the Tezos technology. What was it like building on top of a blockchain like Tezos?
So for Orsay, it was what is important to say is that
Constance, or
yeah, let's start with Constance.
Yeah, the idea was to work with Tezos. We had this. For a year we partnered with Tezos in the continuity of the storytelling of the WAC fellowship, because there was really consistency of values with Orsay. Tezos is really anchored with art, really linked to art, very natively responsible. So there was this connection for the association between Tezos and Orsay, and this is why we wanted also to work with a company that was operating on Tezos, and Keru was one of them. So I let you.
Right. So there was almost a synergy between the values that Musée d'Orsay carried and what the Tezos Foundation wanted to support you with. But then, Hélène, I feel like Keru Projects comes in from a different angle because you're dealing with a lot more of the technical infrastructure and the technical components. So what was it like actually building on Tezos?
I mean, why we built on Tezos? I think we really wanted with Keru to be responsible with Tezos, because it's one of the most responsible blockchain. But I think Sebastian, my co-founder and technical officer, will be more focused on this question. But yeah.
And what was the
question? Sorry, Marisa, your question is why?
So yes, it was why Tezos, but also what was your experience of actually using the technology and building on it?
Why is our experience? Tezos is an open source blockchain, and the thing is that I think the Nomadic Lab team in Paris and in France are really nice. I'm thinking about Cédric, Brian. We have the chance to have their day, so we can meet them very often. And so I think it's maybe also like the proximity of the Tezos team in France that are very nice. And but after about the technical aspect specifically, I'm not the good person to answer because it's not my part. But the thing is that I know is that the Tezos team are very present in France, so we can easily talk with them if we have any question.
So what are some of the other projects that Keru has worked with, and what are some of the learnings that you've had in terms of building out these digital souvenirs?
Yeah, but firstly, the concept of digital souvenir is quite new. We are a quite young company, but we really wanted to test the market really fast. Our first partner was the city of Guérande, where I'm from, in the west coast of France. After we also launched the Château de Chantilly like a partner, but when we launched the Château de Chantilly, it was like our small version of our product. We didn't add benefits, but we actually all changed this, and we also launched other partnership like with city of Rouen, and we have other important partnership who are coming in the next months, and also not only in France but in other countries. But the thing is, we learned is the concept is quite new of digital souvenir, so we have to present this concept. We have to explain, because when you go on a shop, everyone know what is a mug, a magnet, or even a medal to collect. But with the digital souvenir, as it's new, we have to present a little bit more what is the digital souvenir, what benefits you're gonna have with it, and it's also a new way to help our heritage. So yeah, I think we really have to present more and more what is a digital souvenir. Also, our job with Keru, we also been on our social network to present the concept, and also our partners.
And that being said, in terms of the challenge of introducing the idea of what a digital souvenir is and the value that it carries, Constance, when you were essentially selling digital souvenirs from Musée d'Orsay, what was the reception like? Did people understand the concept, or what sort of explaining was required on your end so that your audiences would understand?
And then please feel free to jump in. We knew it was quite of a challenge because, of course, we were going beyond a mere mug, and we wanted to do this kind of augmented souvenir. And the idea was to be both using the codes of the Web3 communities, but also be accessible to our more traditional visitors. And that was the challenge we had put in front of us. And we've realized that the onboarding was really important, and that it was maybe a lot to understand for a traditional visitor, and maybe for the Web3 community, that we could have gone further, maybe something more artistic, involving your artists. But this is something we are thinking about next year. And so I think there was the question of, we wanted, I think, we still want to have something very accessible to anyone, but that's the difficulty of it all. It's that you can't have the perfect product that suited for everyone. So I think that was one of our challenges, and this is what we are as a museum, trying to offer a wide range of cultural propositions, but also, and it stays also in the shops. And the digital souvenir with Keru is a great project. We are learning as we are moving forward, but I think the question of the onboarding. And when I say onboarding, it's our visitors, but it's also our internal team, because it's also new for them. Not everyone within the museum knows what Web3 is, so we are getting bigger and bigger. But it's also a lot of work internally to explain, why are we doing this? What is it? So thanks to Keru, we could propose a digital souvenir at a very interesting price for our teams internally, to explain, to onboard also what it was all about. So yeah, I think that's one of the parameters that we need to take into account as we develop other projects. To the human presence is quite important, even though you're working on something that seems completely technology or digital.
And I think that is something that people often forget or underestimate, is that you are not only educating your visitors, you're also educating your team. And on that front, Keru also has a very interesting job, because you are essentially trying to, like, you have built a product for people to gain value out of, but they won't understand the value that they are attaining without first understanding the principles of blockchain. So for Keru, how do you, I guess, pitch the value of digital souvenirs as something that is tangible and something that museums and galleries should want to have as a part of their offering?
Sorry, can you repeat? How do we
how do you encourage galleries and museums who are interested in the idea of digital souvenirs to learn more about blockchain technology and why this is valuable to them?
On our approach, because I'm certain that the future of Web3 will be like many use cases without talking about NFT. Because when you say NFTs, sometimes people are afraid when they don't know what is it. Especially we saw many newspaper with like NFT audits, something like this. So our approach with Keru is really to explain the benefits of digital souvenir. It's a way to engage the audience, because we can also add benefits with other partners. So it's really a way to extend the experience of the visitors, a way to be a source of funding for projects. And after we say it's NFT, because of course, if you sell digital souvenir, the people have to be the owner of the digital souvenir. That's why we use blockchain technology to secure the digital souvenir. But our approach is really, firstly, to explain what they're gonna have with our solution, and then tell them, oh, we use blockchain and Web3 for this, and not the other side. Because sometimes when we automatically say NFT, Web3, people have like some word in their minds, and it's not sometimes true. That's our approach with Keru.
Right. So you dodge the misperceptions of Web3 and put that to the background and basically present the offering of digital souvenirs that are underlined by a technology that they don't need to overly focus on. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that we are very happy with our partnership with Musée. Is there's some people who get a digital souvenir and they didn't have any NFT before, and it's also a first step in Web3, and they understand after the concept also of blockchain through this concept.
So then when we look at how we see, this concept of digital souvenirs working with art galleries and museums, digital souvenirs are sort of the first step in a long line of different opportunities that these companies can embrace with this sort of technology. So where do each of you see these sorts of collaborations continuing? What else do you want to see happen?
On our side, but because the concept of digital souvenir, there's many field of possibilities. For instance, we can, and that's something that we wanted to do with Keru, but we are doing with Keru, is we can imagine like a digital souvenir of a cinema. For instance, I don't know if you know the three. Well, I don't know the three mousquetaires in English. The three mousquetaires. But imagine you get. I don't know, of course, how gonna be the design of the digital souvenir, but imagine you get your digital souvenir of the cinema. And for instance, the three mousquetaires have been filmed. So we can imagine you get your digital souvenir of the cinema. You can also have a discount in Chateau de Chantilly. So the digital souvenir is really a way to connect places to, as they extend the experience of the visitors and to promote our cultural institution. And it's work in many areas. That's an example. It's also work, of course, for all type of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on digital souvenir, an item of a video game. For instance, you visit a site, you can get an item of a video game. So it's you to your game. Yeah, the field of possibilities is really important, but our philosophy is really a way to connect people, brand, and also cultural institution and all type of experiences.
So it's about including this experiential aspect to having digital souvenirs. And that's something that is clearly experimented with in terms of, harnessing other technologies like augmented reality. So, Constance, where else do you see this going in terms of how else the art world would like to embrace this sort of technology and opportunity?
So I think the question of a digital souvenir is definitely something to think about, something token, something to work on. We have also on our side we have these very impressive collections, known worldwide, not always associated to our name, to our brand. So what I was saying is that we're also looking more closely to the artistic sphere of Web3, looking at what they are doing. We are seeing that there are so many beautiful things, so many dialogues that we could create. In 2024, it's the 150th anniversary of Impressionism, and back at the time, Impressionism wasn't as popular. It was maybe even very criticized, not considered as art because they were topics that were so trivial. But now it's like institutionalized and it's so accessible, and there's definitely something to tell with our collections and with this very exciting artistic Web3 sphere that we want to do in 2024. So far, I can't tell anything. We'll have first announcement, I think, by end of today. So we'll keep you posted. We as Musée d'Orsay and the Musée de l'Orangerie, it's part of a bigger strategy to really be innovative and to continue searching for new ideas, trying new ways, because innovation, it's what connects people, what helps us get to new audiences, because people see the museum in a different way. And I was saying at the beginning, we as a 19th century museum, it's important for us not to get stuck in the past. We really need to think about the future. So we'll try as much as we can to continue in this way, to investigate what Web3 has to offer, whether it may be new digital souvenirs, new way of financing the museum. I think that's also important for us to fund the projects, but also new ways to make our collections be inspire today's art. So yeah, a lot to come in 2024, coming soon.
Right. So there's a lot of announcements that people need to look out for. And I think all the audiences are going to be excited about that. But I think you touched on a few important points, which is that one, new technology doesn't come at the expense of preserving tradition of 19th century art and fine art. And also the fact that, these are art forms that were often considered inaccessible just because they were of a certain kind where it did require a level of education to be able to appreciate it. So the experiential aspect of digital souvenirs is what unlocks that world for a lot of people and makes something like Impressionism or any other form of fine art that much more enjoyable, because suddenly it's not just a part of history, it's a part of modern day as well. So I think that's a wonderful way to put it. Hélène, when we look forward for what Keru has planned, obviously we can't go too much into what Musée d'Orsay has planned, but is there anything that you can share about what you have planned for the year ahead?
Yes, we are going to launch several new sites in France on a board. And yeah, it will be a preview with the Little Prince brand to offer visitors to all sites linked to aeronautics and to France, digital souvenir of the Little Prince, in English. And we will get access to unique benefits linked to the brand. And as we always wanted to be a source of funding for impactful projects, on this project, part of the benefits will go to the Antoine de Saint-Exupéry Foundation, which help who finance many projects for kids and for children. And and we are going also to just stay tuned. I can't say all the partnership, but many things. And we also wanted to because our souvenir, we can share it in augmented reality. We really wanted also to focus on this feature to really encourage people to share their digital souvenir on social network. So we are going to continue our product on this side also.
Right. So a lot of exciting brand partnerships, but also product developments that are happening within the team as well. And it sounds like both of you are going to be very, very busy in the year ahead. So my final question for you both, and Constance, we'll start with you, is what are you most excited to see as it relates to the way arts and culture relate to Web3 technology in the year ahead? It doesn't have to be bound to museums and galleries, but what is it that you are noticing that you really feel inspired by for 2024?
Well, I think museum, there was like of a crypto winter in museum where like you see We've been there, but it's not the time. And I feel that, with NFT Paris coming in February, also, end of February, galleries opening, new platforms. I think Web3 art has said its last word, and I think other institutions are going to propose. French institutions are going to propose great things in the month ahead. It's not only about art; it's also about how culture can be playful and very fun. And it's not only Musée d'Orsay will be on that. So, yeah, French culture is there, and I think there are great things to be done.
Amazing. And what about you, Hélène?
There's many things to do, and I think maybe we will see more and more things with AI and also generative art. And I think also, the key challenge for everyone is to make art accessible to the most people, and I think new experience like generative art can also be a way to promote artists, because it's interactive also with visitors. So what can I say?
Okay, so the emergence of a new technology like AI, how that's going to impact the creative space, and what that also means for the experiences that you deliver.
Yeah.
Amazing.
With AI,
Oh, please go on.
Sorry, I have a technical problem. Sorry, sometimes I can't hear you very well. Sorry.
Did you have any final comments with regards to AI and how you see it playing out in the next year?
I think, about AI and art, like DALL-E is moving very, very, very fast. Remember, like the DALL-E 2 in few months, now it's DALL-E 3. It's just amazing, all the changes. So I think the next month is going to be more and more impressive. I think it's just the beginning, and everything is moving super fast on this technical field. So we have to follow that.
So basically another domain to be excited about. So first it was Web3, now we have AI, and hopefully we'll also see the convergence of the two technologies together.
Yeah.
Well, Constance, Hélène, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives and what you've been working on. I think a lot of people who have been to Paris and experienced Musée d'Orsay are going to be excited for the fact they can experience it all over again in a completely fresh way. And I think you guys have a lot of plans in 2024, so people would do a good thing to pay attention. But thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
Thank you, Marissa. It was a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.